Hey everybody, this is Silver Spook, and this is the Silver Spook video about Gibberocracy. Not a real world, I just made that up, but Lewis Carroll made up words in the Jabberwocky poem, so I can too. Anyways, also I'm a science fiction writer. Gibberocracy, ruled by generative AI nonsense. Let's talk about the Passidice lost during cat cagating, Willy Wonka disasters, and more. So, anyways, so if you're what the heck is going on, is that, if that's what you're thinking, this is a picture from a recent event that took place in Scotland, in Glasgow specifically, and it has since blown up all over the place, all over the interwebs. It is well, obviously, it involved a large quantity of uh, uh, what do we call it? Plagiarism software, nonsense spewing, incomprehensible garbledygook, and sometimes less obviously so. This is like this series of words is a very extreme version of the way that ChatGPT and Midjourney and Dolly and all the you know plagiarism software and human language and art mimicry uh, computer systems pump out all kinds of incorrect stuff. This is the most obvious ones. Is the sentences that and the words that were churned out to promote this Willy Wonka experience. And it's not officially affiliated with Willy Wonka. It's not officially affiliated with the movie starring Timothy Chalamet. Uh, but it's kind of like in the Willy Wonka theme. A magilic. That's not a word either. Um, a magilic chocolate journey. Anyways, so I thought this was just really it was there's an article about it. That's really what I wanted to get to. This is an article about um the experience of being one of the performers at this that I think is like very illustrative of a lot of the points that I've been making frequently. Obviously, like a few, I think two streams ago, I had a video about I had a video about generative AI, degenerative AI, and cyber/biohazards. Speaking specifically about the horrifying white paper published in a Science #3 in the world peer-reviewed science journal about this horrifying mouse. But this is since that time, the amount of generative AI has only been like exploding in usage in school education and every. From what I can gather, it's like more and more in being pushed into schools, into colleges, into classrooms, into everything business, every kind of business. Science, technology. It's being pushed into art. It's being pushed into entertainment. Um, it's everywhere. Design, marketing, and with really horrible consequences. Gaming. Just recently, there was like thousands upon thousands of game layoffs. It's like 6,000 video. I'm in the video game industry myself. That's like my main bread and butter. Or that, my sweet teats are my Exarchardre lollipops are purchased with video game revenue. So um so watching their record historical levels of layoffs, some of it due to AI in the game industry has been really disturbing. Um, and so that like so this is something I'm like been keeping a very close eye on. And we have there was a recently a John Romero, who is another game developer, recently spoke about this. Let's see if I can find that. Uh, yeah, John Romero, the creator of one of the original creators of Doom. Um, yeah, he said, "I've been in the game industry since I was a kid. I've never seen anything like what we're seeing now. For many of us, the game dev is not just a job, but an identity, community, and culture. I'm so sorry for everyone who has lost their jobs." So like in the first 2 months of this year, there's been record numbers of in the first 59 days, right? Less than 2 months. There's already been 8,100 layoffs. Just to, for some idea, like I believe in 2023, there was maybe 10,000 for the whole year. And the number of layoffs is just like it's record level. So it's really bad news for a lot of people. Yeah, in 2023, there were 6,000. Okay, yeah, okay, no, yeah, I was a little bit high estimate for last year. It was 6,000 last year. But in the first 2 months, it's already been 8,000 layoffs. So and some of it is there was overhire. Some people say there's overhiring during the pandemic era. I don't know about that because it's not like people are not playing games now. There's still tons and tons of people. It's still a growing industry. Um, it has to do with the revenues. A lot of it has to do with it's kind of like how people said, oh, the inflation is because um just there's too much people have too much money, or it's just really difficult to make hamburgers and band-aids or something, right? So that's why all your food and all of your Walmart and Safeway products cost more money and Target is more expensive. But it's actually just because the business owners, CEOs, and greedy corporate interests wanted to make more money, so it's called greedflation, right? It's actually like had even Western economists had done their own studies and found that that's what it was. Basically, like the rich wanted to make tons of money and they felt they could get away with it, and so they increased the prices and then they made more money, right? And part of it is they're losing money in other places, but I mean it's nothing. It's just because they decided they wanted to make more money. And similarly, the generative AI is causing people to lose countless jobs because, well, one, if you fire people and rehire them, then it's a good way to cut out senior staff that with larger salaries, bring in some younger staff. The profits versus the total income versus the salaries drops. More profit, more money for the CEOs, more money for the shareholders. At least for temporarily. More pain for the people that get laid off and their lives disrupted, right? More suffering for the people who have like trying to build a stable, support their families and build some kind of stable existence. And but it's good for the business owners, right? And so similarly, AI is part of that. You just when the SAG-AFTRA, just to come back to that, the SAG-AFTRA and the WGA strikes of last year, right? Remember the Hollywood strikes? The AI was weaponized as a threat, right, to the actors and the writers. That says that it was you should accept a lower salary because we could always replace you with an AI. Like, you writers, you should like just accept whatever we give you because we could just replace you all. We'll just put a robot in your place that will write the next Bear episode, the next Avengers, or the next Hollywood movie. Actors, you should just be happy with the terrible wages because we could just get rid of you and have deep fakes of you with, we'll have like Stable Diffusion, Midjourney, Dolly, Sora will just make videos of your likeness forever, right? And that was a threat. Even if they don't use it, it's part of the intimidation tactics, the weapons. It's the threat of economic and financial violence and obsolescence that they were using, right? Now, of course, like the WGA and SAG called the bluff and went on strike, and they want a lot of concessions. Now, that doesn't mean that the capital owners who want to make tons of money hurting everyone else, and paying as little as possible, and taking as much, extracting as much labor value as possible and getting rid of as much labor as they possibly can, to the detriment of the creators and the audiences. They still want to do that. And they still are doing that, right? And that's part of why there's this huge game layoff incident happening. Is in part due to that. And now it's in, and so like there's multiple things happening. One of it is like one is just the mass firings, right? Using we can generate, we can do your job with a generative AI, right? But then there's another thing, which is that if you actually replace the workers with generative AI, right, then that is it's. I mean, that itself is causing massive amounts of problems already, right? Just and doing that causes other problems, right? That's kind of illustrated in the Willy Wonka experience, like very clearly. So now is a good time to jump into that. Okay, so let's look at what exactly happened. Okay, so this is the Willy Wonka experience promotional, Willy Wonka experience promotional flyer that was created by this small fly-by-night kind of shady company called Illuminati Inc. I can't remember I'll get their exact name in a bit, but it was like let me I'm sure I'll be able to find it. Oh yeah. House of Illuminati. The company's called House of Illuminati. That's so that tells you something. That tells you that they're all made up of reptilian overlords, and it's all black and people of color musicians in Hollywood, because that's who that is, right? Obviously not. But anyways, it's a Willy Wonka experience was created by this small company of unknown, very kind of not a lot is known about it at the moment. In Glasgow, in Scotland, they generated these images. These are all AI generated images. So again, that's plagiarism software, stealing, and badly, mangling artist work and making it difficult to trace the origin, so that a wealthy or scummy, and both, one tends to come with the other, business guy can make tons of money not paying artists, right? And it says steal people's art and get away with it using generative AI. That's what it's for. And so he generated this picture, and so number one, so this is like our rat friend, right? This is like our the generative AI cyber biohazard with his Lola cells, the Disgeists, all these nonsense words, and this nonsense image of the rat with the I think it was described as a rat with 4 asymmetrically sized testicles, half the size of his body, and a penis like an old growth forest redwood. That's what generative AI does for you. This is in a published scientific paper, arguably more serious than the Willy Wonka, but arguably more serious than a fantasy children's Candyland playground experience. Although it's entertainment, but both are very bad in different ways. Anyways, but coming back to this one, so what is catgagating? Does anybody know what catgagating is? If anybody knows what catgagating is, let me know. I think it's kind of like when cats get together and they masticate. The cats chewing on like cheese. Our cats tend to catgagate a lot. If that's what it is. Maybe it's like cats watch Gattaca, and they're very moved, and they think deep thoughts about the potential for biology when they watch Gattaca, starring Ethan Hawke, the science fiction movie of a genetically engineered dystopia. I mean, I don't know if they use the breakthroughs from our AI generated monstrous rat friend to produce produce cat gigatica. I don't know what the cat gigating is. I'm extrapolating with my human idea generator what this generative AI nonsense is. It's probably captivating, but the AI took the word captivating and swapped out the P and the T and turn it and then so that the AI could make it seem like this wasn't a stolen artwork, which it is, right? And stolen image, which it is, right? You can see the AI doing the theft right inside of this image. The AI don't know anything. It doesn't understand anything. It just takes things and rips things off, and it does a quick Photoshop cheap job of badly moving elements around in an image and then spitting it back out. So that it's not immediately obvious where the AI prompter stole the image from, so that Sam Altman, OpenAI, and all the big businessmen and Nvidia, who is selling billions of dollars worth of chips as we speak, Nvidia's CEO Jensen Huang, and how Nvidia hardware is eating the world. That's their headline. I don't know why they chose to put that as the headline. This is Wired is propping up the biggest horrible big tech mega corporations destroying the world. They chose to put that there. But anyways, so there's an economic and deep economic incentive to all of this process, right? To get people to use generative AI in everything, so that horrible entities that, by the way, every time you use a Google search or a Bing search that's empowered by AI or any kind of AI powered search, you multiply the carbon emissions per search by 4 to 5 times. So it's also environmentally, it's destroying the planet. AI is melting the ice caps. AI is causing the flowers to bloom in February and record heat temperatures as well. It's joining in on that. Even Sam Altman said AI at its current rate will be absolutely unsustainable. And his solution is, give me trillions of dollars and I'll invent magical code fusion from my underpants, right? Nobody will invent code fusion if everybody moves to generative AI, because all the people whose minds might have been capable of inventing actual successful fusion, at least in the West, they would all have been wasted not doing any science reading or nuclear physics assignments, because they will be using ChatGPT to write their homework. So it's paradoxically, right? Using generative AI is like trying to build a car by, substituting paper mache for the engine. That's what using it is. I mean, I've done videos about this before. I spent about 4 hours railing about this on Wednesday Twitch as well. But anyway, that's important for people to know. This is just, that there's a real serious, and it is like the next big pyramid scheme coming out of Silicon Valley, right? It is like Jensen Huang is going to be like the new Elon Musk, Iron Man. People, the Western imperial capitalist rulers are not so into Elon nowadays. They're less into him because he's not making decisions that benefit their genocides as much, and he's not quite as down with the Democratic Party. I mean, not that it matters which party he's down with. There's only one party in the West. It's the real party of which one it is. But it seems like there's going to be more. They're moving on to new things, and Elon he's trying to get in that. He's got generative AI scraping Twitter. Tumblr just got sold off, and although I think a lot of the Tumblr users are going to mass poison using glaze and nightshade to poison the AI. This is actually, it is like, going to, Aaron Bushnell, effigy emblazoned protests to stop genocide in Palestine, masking and doing actions to stop the spread of mass disabling, mass killing viruses like COVID-19, and poisoning, which is to stop the world eating digital, monstrosities like generative AI. These are all the Lord's work, But of course, I mean, our Lord and Savior, our Lord and Savior, our Lord and Savior, Willy Wonka. No, anyways, so there's new data tool that allows you. What Nightshade is a data tool that allows you to fight back against plagiarism software and cheap mimicry and billionaire empowering software and climate change destroying software called generative AI. Sorry, climate change causing software called generative AI, and also human brain eradication software called generative AI. So the so that's one thing that people can do to fight back. And apart from doing other public direct actions and a whole other there's a diversity of actions people can take. Not using it, that's for sure. I just got asked by Steam. Speaking of game development, I was just asked by Steam, am I using any generative AI? The answer is we're not using any generative AI. I talk about generative AI, but none of it's ever been used in any Silver Spoon game. Certainly not in Neofeud. I had to answer a question this morning about that, because that is a issue that everyone is encountering. Anyways, but coming back to the topic and the Willy Wonka experience. So what is Kakagating? Unknown. What is live performances? You kind of see the spacing between letters glitches out when they use generative AI. The M has an extra arch in that. You see? You can actually like literally see the generative AI doing its cheap nonsense. Doing its thinly veiled, it's like a Wizard of Oz machine. It makes it seem like there's something really neat there when it's just a bunch of really bad props and whistles. It's like there's not a whole entire amazing wizard that can really do actual tricks. It's just a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Catchy tunes is supposed to be catchy tunes, right? But the generative AI stole another flyer and it replaced or added an R and cut the E out. Okay. Exacerbate lollipops. Not sure what exacerbate is. That like when you have a very exacerbating Thursday? Exacerbate is that like the 8th day of the week? That's like the day when you sit down, wake up, you have your first 300 milligrams of caffeine so that you can survive the day, and then you read that the CDC is dropping all isolation time for COVID-19. And is handing out smallpox blankets, and giving and telling people to drive while drunk, and suggesting that gasoline will increase your lifting gains. That's what the CDC did today. Okay, not the last three. They're coming to that, but they did say that we should have a biohazard level 3, biohazard safety level 3, mass disabling, mass killing virus like COVID-19. We should treat it just like a cold or a flu. So that was exacerbate for me when I woke up and I read that. That was exacerbate, the 8th day of the week. Actually, every day is exacerbate because every day you wake up and read some nonsense. Human, usually some Western rich white human generated nonsense or just AI generated nonsense, one or the other, and not just malicious nonsense. So, anyways, okay, what is a passidice of sweet teats? Okay, well, we know what sweet teats are. Why sweet teats? That's what people are generating with AI. It's like your H cup kitsune waifu. That's your sweet teats. And then what a passidice of them? What's a passidice? So like a passidice is like passidice. That's when you pass the dice. That's like when Mario is playing Yahtzee, right? And Luigi went, and now it's Mario's turn. Pass the dice. That's what that's a pass the dice. Okay, it's two retro Nintendo video game characters playing Mattel games or going to Vegas. That's pass the dice. Pass the dice. Sweet teats. Anyway, so this was the image. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, this is the image that it was that this company was advertising. Okay, the Willy Wonka experience was sold with this image, and they used all AI images for the website. You can go and I don't know if they might have taken it down now, but you could go and check it out. They used the AI images on their website to sell tickets, and then people showed up and saw and it got so bad people called the cops on them. It was really bad. That was just the start of it. This is the what it actually looked like. So obviously like a sad, wasteland, a depressing nothing of an experience. Not so much a wonderful wonderland experience. Um, it gets way worse than that. They charge $45 for this. Okay, so you have like a handful of props in a dingy warehouse. Um, and just not a lot of, it's just uh yeah, this is some photos from it. They printed some AI art on sheets and hung those up, perfect for the Instagram. uh this AI catastrophe of word shapes is real. Yep. You know what's interesting though, so they got so they had used an AI to make ensuring entertainment. Okay, so entertainment is the only word that's right there. Um, this image is full of nonsense. They didn't even bother to edit the AI generated nonsense to make it seem less absolutely nonsensical and gook bullcrap. And then practical info though, you see, so the number one, February is spelled wrong. So maybe somebody didn't know how to spell February. That's possible. Or the AI generated it. Maybe it's for plausible deniability, right? Well, I forgot how to spell captivating, That's why I added a cat and a gator to it, because, I forgot how to spell it. Karchi Tuns, everyone spells catchy tunes, Karchi Tuns, right? Who doesn't? Every day, you're just like walking down the street, you just randomly forget how to spell catchy. All right. I mean, legitimately though, if you got COVID, you're gonna lose, 6 to 9 IQ points, +2 for every reinfection. That's statistically, that's a white paper, scientific white paper, just actually peer reviewed scientific white paper, not from Giant Rat Dick Journal, came out and says that you lose 3 to 6 and possibly 9 IQ points each infection of COVID-19 brain damage, and then another 2 for every reinfection on average. So I mean, maybe you got COVID, right? You omeletified your neurons that used to remember how to spell catchy and tune at the same time. Oh, and you just forgot, And then COVID also made you made up Exaster Dre. You just made that word up. That's the people have like strokes from COVID. So maybe you just had a stroke while you were making that, right? So then if you but you notice which one is correct, right? Right? Like the date, the time, the location is correct, right? Willie's chocolateexperience.com is correct, right? So if you go to Willie's, so because you see what's happening there, right? Willie's Chocolate Experience has to be correct, because if you don't have that website spelled correctly, how is Mr. Skeezy, capitalist, Ebenezer Scrooge, like evil Willy Wonka, evil AI generated, mutated Willy Wonka gonna make his money, right? You have to be able to get to the website. So I'm not gonna click this, but you could click book now, right? And you could see, you could see your ensuring entertainment. This is the website. It's all up there, right? So what that says is that like it so you don't have the plausible deniability of, oh well, I just totally forgot what I was writing when I wrote this top part. No, somebody wrote the actual info, right? They were cognizant and their mental faculties were enough to get the core parts right, so to get people's money out of their pocket and into his pocket, right? Willie's Chocolate Experience is right, and like the basic location and stuff is right? The dates are right? But then everything else is AI generated, right? Or much of everything else is AI generated, garbage. And so you can see where the there you have the if you just glanced at it, right? Again, the AI generation, images and text, they seem to be functional, right? They give the first glance appearance of quality, right? But when you look closer, right, all falls apart, and it's actually worthless, right? And so it's stolen and worthless, some combination of the two. It's definitely stolen, and certainly, right, when you look into the actual scientific papers, right, the actual this does look like kind of like a rat, and this looks like some kind of medical something, but this is completely incorrect and or nonsense when it comes to actual science that is supposed to be communicating, and it's stolen stuff, right? So but to somebody that is looking to maybe, like, if you're like a wealthy person who might like put millions of dollars into scientific research, right? Or if you're some parent who has some money and you're like, maybe I want to send my kid to have a fun time, right? If you just glanced and you didn't look too closely, that's what happened. The parents did. The thing is, the AI generated nonsense scam did work, because it did get right, in that picture, you can see in this picture, it did get a bunch of parents to sign up and bring their kids, because parents are just like scrolling through, and the top image is not the worst, right? This is also AI generated, right? The top image, like, that looks pretty neat, I guess. I mean, I don't know which artist it was stolen from, and nobody's asking that question, right? Just to go to see to ostensibly have a fun day where your kids get to hang out with Oompa Loompas and have a mini Disneyland experience, but with more, Sweet Tooth related, Willy Wonka-esque characteristics. And so it quote unquote works for, very shallow marketing and ripping people off, basically. But if you actually get into it, number one, it's all stolen. Number two, it's less than it's far worse than I think most people realize. And this is an interview with the lead actor that talks about his experience with this whole event. It almost resulted in people getting hurt, possibly killed. That's how bad it was. So generative AI almost killed people at a Willy Wonka children's event. That's how bad it screwed up. I mean, the horrible generative AI and horrible capitalist business guys together almost got people killed. The police were involved. So Willy Wonka, the event's lead actor, speaks out. It was all just gibberish. Paul Connell, who portrayed Willie McDuff at Willy's Chocolate Experience, talks to Wired about the unknown jelly beans and an impossible vacuum cleaner trick. Okay, so okay, I'm gonna leave this up here while I go through this, because this is all paywalled. But let me see. Yeah, so let's get one thing out of the way first. Neither Warner Bros., which produced Wonka, nor the character Willy Wonka are actually affiliated with the disastrous viral Glasgow event known as Willy's Chocolate Experience. It's an easy mistake to make. Aside from the name, the event featured actors clearly costumed to look like Oompa Loompas. Its chocolatier Willy, last name inexplicably McDuff, is an eccentric dreamer in a top hat, and the website, which promises ensuring entertainment alongside Karchi Tons, exarchadre lollipops, and a passidice of sweet teats. It didn't say treats, it said teats. Is clearly the Wired said it said treats, but that's not what it said. Is clearly courting the sugar-coated whimsy associated with Roald Dahl's iconic Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The event, put on by a company called House of Illuminati, has garnered headlines worldwide. Parents of devastated kids are campaigning for refunds. I want to switch over to the picture of the parents campaigning. That's the parents pissed off about this event. Sorry, I lost my place. Parents campaigning for refunds have started a Facebook group to swap info. A copy of the event's Fever Dream script, which calls for Willie McDuff and his wonky doodles, not Oompa Loompas, to battle a new villain called the Unknown, has been posted online. So the script itself was entirely AI generated for this whole event. Wired independently verified the script with one of the actors from the event. Performers worry they'll never actually get paid. So again, this is all about making tons of money for some rich, horrible douchebag who used AI generated garbage. In the event's aftermath, Wired spoke with Paul Connell, the actor and comedian who plays one of the show's Willie McDuffs. Connell says that amid the unexpected fame Willie's chocolate experience has brought, he and other actors are also working with the parents to put on a free, proper show for the kids who attended. As for House of Illuminati, the organization says it has no plans to host any future events. So okay, let's go through this. So this is so the interviewer is asking questions. So the interviewer, how did you wind up in this situation, Paul? I've asked myself that many times. I do mainly stand-up comedy, but I will take acting jobs here and there. I saw an acting job to be in this chocolate factory experience. Let me just change the picture. To be fair, I saw an acting job to be in this chocolate factory experience. To be fair, I give off Oompa Loompa energy. I don't give off very Willy Wonka energy. When they cast me as Willy Wonka, they should have been the first sign they didn't really know what they were doing. So I got the job on Thursday, so like less than a week ago. I was given a 15-page script, which is just a monologue to learn for the next day. It was all AI generated gibberish. What made you think that it was AI generated? Asked the interviewer. Well, you read it, right? It was all stuff that just isn't possible within the realm of humanity. So this is where the AI generation really you can see how it does not work and it's broken garbage. There's stuff in this script that just didn't make any logical sense. I don't think they knew what the script said because I was just repeatedly told, do what you want. I think they might have briefly looked at the script long enough to know that they would need costumes. But I don't think that anyone spent any time studying that script. The guy who did it, Billy Cole, has a series of books on Amazon that are all available to buy that have all been AI generated. According to a report in Rolling Stone that quoted an analysis by an AI detection tool, the books were AI generated. So this guy has a history of generating fake books and throwing them on Amazon, further, propagating through the world useless and stolen, plagiarized nonsense. And on Wednesday, I talked about the library of Babelification that actually were AI, generative AI, because it puts out so much seemingly plausibly, possibly quality content, right? That takes time to go through. Humans have to go through AI. One person can generate dozens, if not hundreds of books, an hour. If you have access to generative AI, which you can easily get access to it in a lot of places, you can generate nearly infinite numbers of. It's limited by the total, the processing time, etc. But you can basically generate as much garbage as you want. You can generate as much AI spun seeming. Again, the thing is, right? It would be one thing if it was really obvious that the thing was AI generated. It's like spam emails, right? AI generation, generative AI is like a ultra. It's the problem of having penis enlargement pumps and pills and the billionaire Nigerian princes asking for your social security number, your bank account number, and your address. Everybody, just getting one weird trick that this single mom learned to stop diabetes, right? Generative AI is like the spam email problem times a million, because it's not just emails that you can look at and go, oh, that's another scam. Like phone, robo calls, Reader's Digest calls, elderly tailored people with landlines, tailored. Fake calls from the Medicare office, right, to try to get money from like those happen in the world, and that sucks, and they're a net detriment to the world and life. But generative AI takes that and then floods everything, right? Science journals, bookstores, scripts, actors' jobs, everything is just like flooded with spam. Editors, like I talked about last time, on it wasn't on this last year. This is early on, very early on, only a couple months into the ChatGPT really hitting its stride and being unleashed like a Pandora's box of intellectual waste upon the world. A science fiction magazine, Clarkesworld, is a very prominent sci-fi magazine, cut off submissions because there were so many AI generated stories that the editors, the humans that had to read through. This is a job that's a very often thankless job, disproportionately done by women, of having to read through submissions, thousands of submissions to science fiction magazines, fantasy magazines, other fiction, horror, mystery, and not just science fiction. I mean, peer-reviewed journals, everything, right? Anything written and published has to be filtered through because there's a lot of stuff that's constantly being churned out by billions of people around the world. And then now the billions of people can churn out, each person can churn out millions. So you're multiplying by magnitudes the amount of the amount of content, text, images, words that humans have to go through, right, to edit and to check to see if this is something that is even worth displaying and putting in this place, on this website, in this magazine, in this compendium, right, on the Steam website, right. People have to edit. People have to go there and make sure they're not, there's people that already have to deal with generated accounts on Reddit and on Facebook and on Twitter and all on social media. But the most consequential is like in actual science, tech, engineering, and math. Like that's why that Frontiers LN science, the peer-reviewed science is letting through AI-generated nonsense into, world scientific science white papers that other scientists have to be citing. Right, that makes that even more dangerous. But even before that, like this was obvious. This was a problem. There was so much to read through. It'll take you minutes to hours to read through a submission, right? And so if you suddenly you used to have like 100 to read through. Now you have like 10,000 to read through. They have to shut down. And you have to figure out how can we get a new. And you know what the answer is? There isn't actually a solution to this problem yet. What does that mean? That means that like, it's becoming harder and harder to know what is actual legitimate literature, what is legitimate science, what is legitimate, actual human written quality work, and what is just some stolen garbage, right? So it's actually like it is wrecking the entire ability to determine what is real, what is not, what was real, but what was human created and what some other grifter capitalist dickhead stole. There is not a solution to this. There is a limited number of humans in the world to go through and edit. They have a limited number of time and to pay out. So the real answer is generative AI is a horrific plague released upon the world that is that smart entities are limiting they are strictly regulating its usage and making it. And even platforms like Steam, they're very strict about this stuff because they don't want too much of this to be flooded because it also raises other legal problems, which that whole situation is still unclear, right? The short answer is that this stuff is not sorted out. Like it's breaking many things. It's breaking science. It's breaking technology. It's breaking education because kids are cheating and I have this I don't think I talked about here. Teachers are teaching like how to read Catcher in the Rye by having kids not necessarily read Catcher in the Rye, just talk to an AI generated version of Holden Caulfield, using the carbon emissions of entire American households. Just every time you use generative AI, you're using to make one AI image is like basically takes multiple households worth of electricity usage, like the washer, dryer, refrigerators, and hot water heating. And all the lights for multiple households. That's how much it takes to make one AI image. And so people who are using the chatbot, and I'll teach everyone is just like, being pushed to use it because, you'll seem like you're at the cutting edge, the bleeding edge. Your corporation you can tell your boss, hey, we're using generative AI and that makes us cooler and hotter. So people, it's the same kind of thing, right? This is the Western lie and scamocracy of just like talking a thing up and lying about how good it is to get more money invested in your thing, whether that's tobacco, whether that's, NFT, crypto, Bitcoin, Sam Altman's renewable solar powered fusion reactor that doesn't exist. Sam Altman's perpetual motion machine that he's gonna make once you give him $25 quadrillion, right? Or Elon will make you some kind of genius machine, right? I mean, Elon Musk is the Willy Wonka experience, right? But for billionaires, right? Here, give me some money and I'll make you a rusting, rusting untreated steel piece of garbage called a Cybertruck that breaks down after less than a year, and it isn't worth the not bulletproof glass that we've installed in it because of how useless it is, right? It's like so everything, the West is the Willy Wonka, Western capitalist racist imperialist shithole is a Willy Wonka experience, right? It's give us lots of your stuff and money and come to America and everything will be great for you. And you show up in America and it's like, why is everyone hungry, homeless, infrastructure's falling apart, and I'm getting shot by mass shooters, and we're all supporting genocide, and we're full of fascists, right? Like the Willy Wonka experience, the American Willy Wonka, the American Dreamland experience, the American Dreamland experience is like the picture on the left, right? And then you show up in America and it's just a giant meth lab with a sad millennial, like, what the hell am I showing up in this horrible crack house for, right? You're like, why did I leave my country and come? I should went to China where they have like civilization and they limit how much generative AI and where you can use generative AI. It's not in their white papers. You can't. It's like you lose your PhD, your bachelor's degree, or your master's degree for having a single AI generated sentence in any white paper ever in your entire academic career. But instead of going to China where they have $700 world-class Tsinghua University tuition and $300 rents and no homelessness and no food insecurity and no fascists, there's like 3 homeless people in all of China, maybe. Like, I remember, like, somebody did a survey of like 30 of the biggest multi-million person cities. It was like they found 3 maybe homeless people who are all happier than any American, not homeless person, just an American. And so when you, right, so it's like the West is built upon mass disinformation and telling everyone you're the most civilized, advanced place when you're a capitalist dystopian shithole, racist crapscape, and everything you have is made impoverishing and plundering and killing and enslaving 8 billion people around the world. And so generative AI just kind of like automates that process of pumping out garbage while you do nothing and then take everyone's wealth and then run off and buy some more yachts and buy some more gas guzzling Hummers and burn the world some more. So Gibberocracy is just, it's really just a continuation of in a historical sense, it's just a continuation of the malicious Gibberocracy of the last thousands of years of Europeanness. But in another sense, it's new in the sense that we didn't have computers to make, 1 billion times faster the spewing out of, smoking is good for your health, and we didn't have the ability for everyone to be their own personal, marketing. Everyone can be their own personal marketing department at a greedy corporation somewhere. Everyone can be their own Terrell PR department, right? You can just go in to a Gen AI site, pump out some text and images. Boom, you've got your experience. Boom, not that one. Boom. You've got it. There you go. Use Wix, ChatGPT, Stable Diffusion, DALL-E. You got $10 for that. Boom. That's what a guy did. The thing is, this kind of thing is happening all over the place, right? So it lowers the barrier to entry. Generative AI lowers the barrier to entry of being a horrible, corrupt businessman and impoverishes everyone and screws the whole world and destroys information and human civilization as we know it, and tells people that because while it's generating this gibberish, it's leaving this massive wake of incorrectness in its path. Like, the biology textbooks that are full of, information saying that poisonous mushrooms are fine to eat. Even before the CDC was spreading nonsense, the medical, the medical educational system already had lots of wrong stuff in it. But then there's more of that is being added, right? Obviously, This the rat paper is specifically, it is a medical paper. It's specifically on using stem cells to create treatments. That's part of what the purpose of the paper was. But then even that stem cell treatment, that's not a bad thing, right? To help people who have cancers or other illnesses using stem cells, right? But people who would like to do that work, the scientists have to weed through, instead of going to a peer-reviewed site, getting the key research, right, and then finding scientific papers, and then go, okay, I'm going to read those so that I can move on and do my science, right? Do my renewable science, make better solar panels, make actual fusion work, right? Artificial suns. I want to make actual, I want to work on making, actual functioning, better electric cars, high-speed rail, breakthroughs in chemistry, biotech, nanotech, right? People want it. Those are not bad things to be doing, right? Make better treatments for COVID-19, right? And other viruses that are killing everybody, and bacteria that are killing everybody, measles, that everyone doesn't have any immunity to because COVID-19 destroys your immune system, like AIDS. Anyways, so those scientists have to the scientists have the Library of Valuable problem, where they used to be able to come and read like a couple paper, 3-5 papers, and then they'll find the information they want. Now the scientists have to read through 1,000 papers, or they're getting to a point where they have to slog through more and more and more AI generated crap, or stuff that is because you might start reading a paper and then it will take you time. It'll take you like maybe quick, but maybe it'll take you a few minutes because it sounds good, right? Because it uses proper Western white English, and then it sounds good, but then it takes you a while to read through and discover, oh, wait, no, that's not useful because this paper is AI generated. So it sounds like it uses words like, desiccated and a vas deferens. It uses, the word stem cells. It has grammatically correct English sentences, but you don't realize till you get through, like 3 pages of it potentially. It's wasting your scientists' brain cycles is being wasted, right? That's one of the biggest things. Generative AI is taking the 4-8 hours of useful brain energy of really talented, smart people, and it's blowing half or 3/4 of that time, right? You're literally destroying productivity of people that need to be doing work because they're wasting time trying to being the editor, sorting through mountains of difficult to discern gibberish from actual important research. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just one of many problems. And that's why it calls Gibberocracy. It's ruled by infinite. It's worse than just random, because if generative AI was just random, right? It was just random garbled letters, right? Like not just caccating and exacerbated lollipops. This is just the image generator mixing the text up. The ChatGPT will make like 0 misspelled words, right? But the caccating is because you can tell that the image generator is messing with the text. But it's hard to tell it's harder to tell a ChatGPT generated work until later, until like deeper and deeper into the text. I don't have all my long list of links on me, but there was one link that said that there was one academic or scientist I was reading on somewhere on Mastodon or Twitter, I forget, and they were saying like a lot of these AI generated, there's legal papers, there's engineering documents, there's everything you can think of, engineering, legal, other government documents. There's like you can generate anything. You can generate passports. You can generate. I mean, that's going to be more obvious, it's shorter. But I mean, you can generate like all of these papers, scientific papers, and like on the first glance, it will seem legitimate, and it takes time, right? To actually, it takes time, and it takes someone with expertise to actually discover. Oh, wait. The stem cell, like this paper says that viral, this strain of, strep throat was treated using X and Y and Z antiviral, and then you have to have somebody with some medical knowledge to go, wait, strep throat is a bacterial infection, and an antiviral is not suited to that. So that means, but maybe that. So you might. Oh, maybe that was like just a mistake. Maybe that was a typo. So it takes time. Somebody has to go through and weed through this generated paper, and then eventually they'll discover, wait, this I spent an hour of my time, and I've only now discovered that, hey, this scientific paper, this a medical paper, this whatever, right? This actually is worthless, right? Like, you got to look up studies. You got to like look up. Oh, here is a study from 1996 that had that included 25,000 rats and 65 Willy Wonkas. Here's a study. And it's like, wait, you don't have 65,000 rats in a study. Or you have to, maybe it's more plausible. It's like this is a double-blind clinical trial to investigate the efficacy of the HIV/AIDS treatment on long COVID patients, right? And you're like, oh, well, that sounds plausible because HIV/AIDS and COVID-19, they both are immune system degrading and devastating viruses, right? And so you go, okay, well, that makes sense. And then you look up the study, and the study is from like 2017, and you'd be like, wait, COVID wasn't around then. Okay, and then, but by that time, you've already wasted. You could have wasted an hour of your time. I saw a researcher saying, like, I can't do my research anymore. I can't do medical research anymore. Or it makes it so hard because I'm wading through all of these papers. I'm wading through science. I'm wading through technical papers, and it takes me. And then I suddenly find out this whole thing is nonsense. So I'm wasting like more than half of my time. You see it, like AI, generative AI, whatever you thought was going to be a better feature, generative AI is actually is multiplying. Like, I have a friend who does coding. He often shows up in these streams too. And he says, like, the boss, because the company wants to be seen on the cutting edge so they can get more investment capital from millionaires, billionaires, right, that have all the money. So central banks to print it and make money, throwing out money from their infinite money printer machine. And he's like, but companies need to show to the money people, who are not smart. They're not, right? Investors, these are mediocre people with emerald minds and, sitting on, racist colonialist plunder that don't have any actual skills, and they're stupider than Elon, which is to say extremely, because he doesn't have 3 brain cells to run together. And most of the rich have maybe 2, 1.5. If they get 3 rounds of COVID, they have like 0.06 of a brain cell left. So these people, they don't look into when they're going to invest. If you say generative AI, you got a bunch of millionaires and billionaires, they start throwing money at you already. They're not even at the level of discernment as an average parent in Glasgow. The investor class, they hear like, oh, you're doing. Like, they're not technologists, they're not specialists, they don't understand what generative AI is. Half of them all think, like much of the lay population, that that generative AI actually has feelings and is sentient and is an existential threat, and the human race is gonna be wiped out by Skynet commanding Terminator overlords and hunter killer automated drones, and Battlestar Galactica Cylons are gonna be landing any second now in their backyard. So they better invest everything they have in AI and appease the God machine, just like Elon told them, because that's the kind of people that run the West. Absolute clowns. And the capitalist world, right? And so the business, and so the people that are the bosses, the managers, and then the executives, lower level executives, it filters down, right? The head rots from the bit rotting. The bit rot rots from the head of the fish, or the Leviathan, right? The generative AI rots from the rich on the top, wanting to make tons of money, right? Like the CEO of Nvidia. This is not the CEO of Nvidia. That's an actor, right? And the CEO of Nvidia is an actor as well, pretending like he knows what he's talking about when he's just a professional grifter. So the Nvidia, who makes the chips, is making billions of dollars pumping out these planet-destroying chips that are wasting all the electricity to make garbage that's going to make everyone stupider and destroy the capacity to do science, engineering, technology, biology, and is unemploying all the artists and entertainers and people that maintain happiness and joy and bring smiles to children's faces, right? So that's what generative AI is doing, is destroying smiles, right? It's a smile destroying technology. So like, and you can even sign up to get some AI inside of your business on this thing. Is it, so like Wired is like CDC. The CDC is saying, hey everybody, go back to work, spread the flu, RSV, COVID, and measles all at the same time if you can get away with it. Let's have children's measles parties. Let's spread that biology damaging stuff. Like I made a video a couple weeks ago about that. And then the tech community is just like, hey everybody, let's spread digital brain COVID to everyone, and let's put it inside of us as much as in our information, in our content, in our creation as much as possible. Just dump that civilizational COVID of generative AI everywhere you can. Okay, because we're gonna make a ton of money destroying everything, just like, right? Capitalists are gonna make a ton of money destroying everything as everyone gets COVID, but stays in their offices and going to restaurants and theaters, right? In the short term, they make tons of money. In the long term, everything will be destroyed. AI is basically the same as COVID. But anyways, so anyway, I've been going off for a bit. Let me come back to Willy Wonka's experience, because this is a lot of fun. Okay. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to find my where's my document? Here we go. Okay. I don't think they knew what the script said, because I was just repeatedly told, do what you want. I think they might have briefly took a look at the script. This is for the Willy. This is from the actor speaking about what it was like to work for the Willy Wonka experience. But I don't think anyone spent any time studying the script. The guy who did it, Billy Cole, has a series of books on Amazon. So this guy, as I already read that part, but the creator has been generating AI books and putting them all over Amazon, like millions of other people, like millions of other skeezy, scruples-free, uncaring, wannabe rich people, rich dudes or not dudes, capitalists. They're just filling Amazon. They're filling websites with garbage products, fake AI generated products, and then scamming people out of their money, right? There's one lady who made like Pride and Prejudice and ninjas, Pride and Prejudice and dinosaurs, like Jane Hathaway, Anne Hathaway, not Anne Hathaway, Jane Austen writes like Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire, and it puts that up as her own book. Like it's like, that's just one person, right? You see what I'm saying? Usually one person, you could write a bad book, like on NaNoWriMo. One person could write a bad book and take you a month, if you're really fast in NaNoWriMo. But now one person can write 50 not only bad but plagiaristic, absolutely fake books in one day. You see how the generative AI is magnifying the human effort to do the editing and weeding through to get to the actual quality output. So it is decimating, like, possibly one third or 90% of human work, right, could be wasted, or to get even 10% of what you used to be able to get, an access of quality science, quality writing, quality art, quality anything, engineering, quality computer code. It might be taking 9 or 10 times more human effort to get that one solid day's worth of work of an individual, right? Because of the extra time you need to human paid or unpaid editors have to weed through all that crap, right? And I forgot to finish up that point with our friend. His boss, right, at that company, he does code for a living, and his boss is like, can you do the C# or the JavaScript, but use generative AI, because it'll make our company look smarter and better, and we'll get more money invested, and then I'll pay myself more, and we'll have some more corporate buybacks to do, so I can take short-term profits for myself and screw over everything, including our company, in the long term. And anyway, so the programmer was like, well, if I use generative AI if I use ChatGPT to generate JavaScript or the code for this website that we're working on, the code that it generates is so it looks okay when if you're not a programmer, right? If you're a layperson, if you're not a specialist, you just glance at the code, it looks like reasonable, like maybe it works. But that's for people who don't understand anything about. They're not experts on what they're talking about. It's all about AI. AI is a high speed bullshit, cheating and lying machine, right? It makes things look legitimate that aren't. And so I have to go back after that AI generates, a page of code. I have to go back and I have to edit that code. In fact, it takes me 3 times. He actually, his name is Victor. He said I timed it. It takes me about 3 times as long to edit AI generated code, right? And I'm paid like money. He's paid money for this. This is a serious job as a professional programmer. I have to take 3 times as long to edit AI generated code into something useful than it takes me to just make it from scratch, right? But he's being pushed to do that anyway, right? So what does that? I mean, so what did that tell you? Number one is that either the capitalist class do not care about the products that are coming out. That's part of it, or B, the short-term benefit, is better over the long term. But I think it's worse than that. It's that corporations under the current collapsar phase of capitalism, neo-feudal, self-cannibalizing, techno-feudal capitalism, as Yanis Varoufakis sometimes calls it, it doesn't matter if you produce a product. What matters is that you sell the appearance of something that might be a product. So AI generation is perfect for that because it makes it sounds cool as a buzzword, and using it makes things that look and sound like a product. But again, right, when you look closely, it's not. But that doesn't matter, right? That doesn't matter. What matters is that you're making something that maybe looks like a TED Talk. You need the TED Talk. You don't need the actual functioning cars and Teslas that don't, speed off and kill children by going 200 miles uncontrollably on the highway, and Teslas that you have to recall 2 million of them because they're broken. Their inside of their windows are falling off. Their autopilot system's broken, and they're not worth like 10% of what you put into it, right? So that doesn't the idea of the Tesla, the marketing of the Tesla, the fake, the pizzazz and the smoke and mirrors Victorian magic trick bullshit, right? The Willy Wonka experience website version of Tesla, the image of Elon as some kind of genius saving the world is what, and then for rich idiots to throw money at, right? That run the West. That's what matters, not the actual concrete products, right? This is like the West. They spend like $40 billion making F-35s, and like none of them are functioning, just like they're Boeing planes, right? But so that's the same thing. What matters is like Boeing. It's a big fancy company that you love, and never mind that it doesn't make planes that work anymore, and it lost 40% of its entire valuation over the course of less than 6 months after multiple of its 737 MAX crashes because it's made out of duct tape, prayers, Mountain Dew cans, and RC cars, and the planes are falling apart as we speak, even faster and faster. They're going to use like AI generated plane, they're just going to AI generate a plane wing and then like slap it on, right? The thing is, when you physically fly across the world and spread COVID and culturally colonize and plunder Hawaiian culture on your stupid vacation, if you might actually you might want to not crash and die on the way here, right? Don't come here though, because the AI generated bolts and nuts and wing parts that they're going to use to put on the side of the planes is probably going to start causing the planes to crash a lot more than they currently are. I mean, amazingly, there's not been many plane crashes yet. Anyways, I'm like way off of my topic. I'm sorry. But I mean, that's important. It is important context that the generative AI is the Willy Wonka experience. It is that. It's about creating a facade of value, having absolutely none or massively negative value in net value in total, right? And then it's doing that at an amazingly fast rate. It's multiplying the malice and the destruction of already horrible capitalist system, right? It's basically what it does. Rather than the total opposite of helping the world and making the world better, it's actually making the world absolutely worse and worse. Anyways, where was I going? Yeah, back to Willy Wonka. So So, yeah. So, what else stood out for you in this script at this Willy Wonka experience? This is again from the actor's perspective at the Willy Wonka event. The funniest bit about the script is the stage directions for the audience. You are supposed to like say a line and wait for the audience to all in unison lean in before you carry on with the next line. I'm like, right, I'm gonna have to hand out scripts to the audience before this because they need to know their cues as well. Um, uh, what was your initial impression of the script? This script looks like absolute gibberish. It looks like not even the English language. Some parts of the script, but this is the actor again. I'm an optimist. It said that there would be special effects and things like that in there. So I just thought, you know what, maybe, I just thought maybe I'll turn up and sorry, I missed my place. I'll turn up there tomorrow, and it will all make sense. I was going to be Willy Wonka. This is a dream. I grew up watching Gene Wilder. I absolutely love I absolutely love the original Willy Wonka movie. I was going to walk into this chocolate kingdom that I am the mayor and ruler of. I thought it was going to be me having lots of fun with kids just being excited by everything. There would be chocolate everywhere. By the way, there was no chocolate at the chocolate factory. Instead, I was told to hand out 2 jelly beans and a quarter cup of lemonade. That lemonade is practically legendary now, as is the fact that there weren't many special effects. I thought it will clip into place when I see the projections and the lights and sounds, and then I'll feel so silly for reading this script and not understanding the deeper meaning behind it. But it turns out there was no deeper meaning. There was no special effects. It was all just gibberish that is now in my brain that has probably pushed out something useful. You see what I'm saying? And this is from the actors. This is from Paul Connell's actor experience. So when he read it, he thought, okay, maybe this script isn't just a bunch of spicy autocorrect, a bunch of servers somewhere in San Francisco, right? Statistically looking at 1,000 separate Disney and Magical Kingdom and Six Flags Mickey Mouse ride scripts, and then applying it to Willy Wonka and then spitting out a next word guesser for 15 pages. So Paul mistakenly, right? So you see how it's hard to discern whether there's any there. It's like, and people, especially if you want to believe, right, in the thing that you're doing, you have faith. It's normal for people to give the benefit of the doubt, and it's not bad for humans to give the benefit of the doubt to other people and be like, hey, maybe this children's event, it's a good idea. I want to have fun with kids. I want to make kids happy. So I'm going to overlook, right? I love Willy Wonka, the show, right? It's right. So generative AI and the modern Western capitalist collapse our hellscape nonsense and generative AI, plagiarism software, right? They work on taking core, like positive, well-known experiences and intellectual property, like Willy Wonka, or the big brands, right? Oh, you love there's entire content farms that just spew out tens of thousands of articles from former well-regarded websites like kansascitynews.com. Oh, CNET just got kicked off of Google because apparently CNET has been using generative AI. Published generative AI stories, and it's no longer recognized by Wikipedia as an authoritative source because it had so much generative. But it was silently, stealthily inserting, right, using the prestige and the built-up years of millions of people like clicking on and going to CNET articles and that built-up reputation. It was using the built-up reputation with real humans doing real editing and real writing and real work of some kind, right, to produce these articles. And then generative AI, and it's part of the shitification process, right? The generative AI and the capitalists come together and go, let's make tons of money not paying authors, not paying writers, people thinking they're getting quality content with a high speed cheating and lying and falsification mechanism. That's the ChatGPT and image generators. And we'll cut the salary. I mean, imagine you're a CEO. You need to increase shareholder profits, and you're like, how do I get the profits up this quarter? I know. We'll like get rid of like, most of the workforce, cutting all the salaries to in by 90%, and we'll fill it all with generative AI nonsense. Eventually, someone will find it's kind right. It's kind of like toxic waste dumping. Eventually, someone's gonna feel the pain of that outsourced waste, that offshoring of your of the problems, right? It's like digital toxic waste dumping is what generative AI is. It also, right? And so they push all of that. And they go, we'll just make tons of articles. Maybe a year from now, if someone finds out, then the reputation that CNET has built up, or not just CNET, tons and tons of publications, right? The reputation that is built up will be tarnished by the fact that they will find out that we have so many fake AI generated stories that were no longer useful for, discerning, like, at least reasonably useful articles, right? But that's not going to happen for a while. We will keep our valuation. We'll keep our income coming in in the meantime, and that's really great for me. Short-term profits and then the long-term pain, right? Anyway, so this is not like a news story in the sense of capitalism and the profit motive and seeking that out and prioritizing that in a country, a system, a culture, a civilization run by that, like Western plutocratic places. That's not new that this, fossil fuel being, the science on climate change and global warming being controversial, all this millions of dollars spent by fossil fuel companies to basically poison the world and destroy everything for their own personal profit. That's not new, but what's new is that you can do that in so many more arenas and basically anywhere now with generative AI at a rate beyond anything historically possible. So anyway, that's another one where it took over a year. It took over a year for people to actually come to the realize that, oh my God, CNET is actually just full of generative AI, and now it doesn't count as a source no, I will say I have criticism for Wikipedia itself, but even Wikipedia, which is Western capitalist libertarian billionaire run State Department cutout, ostensibly, right? That if you say anything against empire and historical colonizers and neo-colonizers, they will edit your wiki for you. Like you ask Lee Camp and anyone who's ever worked to do actual journalism against Israel. They do this straight up Zionist editors to go through and rip anyone's they rip their Wikipedia site apart if they do any actual criticism there, and then they control a lot of the editorial board, so then nothing can be changed back. Like I think Lee Camp was like locked out of editing his own site. He had to have his site personally edited by and so I'm saying, like, Wikipedia is already not the best. It's okay if you want to learn like what are the first 10 digits of pi, the mathematical number, the mathematical concept. But if you want to learn like what Israel is doing in Palestine and what actual truth about a lot of it, what Hawaii actually is, that I can tell you about as a native Hawaiian anti-colonialist, anti-imperialist, it's missing a lot of that kind of stuff. But even Wikipedia said, oh, we can't trust multiple, not just CNET, many sites, because there's so much AI generated stuff in their sites that we can't tell which is kind of shoddy, Western biased, somewhat journalism from absolute gibberish, right? From absolute gibberocracy. So that's the government. By gibberocracy, it's not just government. It's like everything is just filled with gibberish now, where it's being filled rapidly. Millions of children are going to elementary and high schools. Their social studies class, their English classes all being taught in AI generated, with teachers that don't even understand what they're teaching. Teachers, that's part of it, is teachers don't even understand what generative AI is, but they're being pushed by their schools. Like employees, programmers, technologists, scientists are being pushed by their bosses to use it. And these people don't even, I mean, a lot the teachers that I'm watching them teach kids, like you don't even know what you're doing. Like you are like harming kids actively by using this. Not just because the kids could cheat and then not actually do any work and not get good at math and writing and such, and never be able to develop their own inner voice and the capacity to compose their own thoughts, right? And just rely on, clicking a 3-word human sentence mimicker, prompt to get their, essays for English 200. That's already a problem. But there's many, many other problems, including like suicide rate. Talking to Holden Caulfield bot, a horribly depressed, a suicidal, contemplating teenager from Catcher in the Rye, talking to the to that AI generated bot, unsupervised, which is what this teacher was doing. When AI have already been shown to have caused many, many people to commit suicide by literally suggesting that they kill themselves, because AI is not, it doesn't have human empathy, doesn't have the capacity to control those kinds of things, and that's why also when you go to therapy bots, the therapy bots have actually caused more death, possibly than many diseases at this current point. Certainly more than shark attacks. Or I forget the exact numbers, but it's like there is a multi-digit number of AI generated deaths from artificial intelligence insisting on people killing themselves, especially vulnerable young people, especially like marginalized people and disabled people who don't have money to go to a human therapist, right? I mean, I have a whole multi-hour spiel on the Western therapy, but the AI magnifies that and makes it even worse. Even if you didn't want to cause people to off themselves, generative AI has no holds barred on that. There's no qualm. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It can't even be understood because half the time it says shit like exacerbate and pasteurized sweet teats, And when it is understood, it can make you kill yourself. Also, it can make you kill yourself by eating poisonous mushrooms because you read a biology textbook written by an AI, and there weren't enough human editors without 6 rounds of COVID, which means like 18 plus point IQ drops from COVID brain damage to edit the biology textbook or the Nature Walk book that is the botanical book that you're reading that's supposed to identify poisonous from non-poisonous mushrooms, right? Or poisonous from non-poisonous flowers or plants. People like to do, right, urban foraging. And like people really like to go on walks. If it's fine, right? People like to do hunter and gathering, especially nowadays when food costs, it's like $20 for 3 chicken nuggets or whatever it happens to be, right? And so people are, right, that's just one of many, 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 many horrible and deadly impacts that nobody is accounting for, right? The U.S. is letting everyone die from measles, mumps, scarlet fever, and a Parola strain, right? They're sure as hell ain't gonna account for AI deaths. They're making too much money. So anyways, back to this though. Willie's chocolate experience. Okay, let's finish up with Willie's chocolate experience. Okay, I've looked at the web. I will clip into place when I see these projections, but it turns out there's no deeper meaning. There were no special effects. It was just gibberish that's now in my brain and has probably pushed out something useful. I just want to come back to that one more time. There is a limited amount of space in people's brains that hasn't been, again, scrambled like so many brains on drugs from the 1990s. DARE program, Stop Kids Using Drugs commercials, right? That is your brains that have not been fried by not just drugs, but fried by the COVID reinfections that cause. And there's science that just came out this week that shows proof of all of that damage. So brains are already, and 95+% of people have had COVID at least once. The average American, by some studies, has COVID on average, by some counts, 1.5 times a year. I just saw another one that said at least 3 times. The average American, and which is average Westerner, has had COVID at least 3 times. So that that's already caused damage, right? people have limited space in there. Many people, the people who used to be patrons of ours, they're gone now because their brain is so damaged. Not just a few IQ points, right? Their brains are so damaged they cannot even do any. People who used to be IT people, people who used to like write emails, to do marketing, they did like climate work, they were climate activists and pro Palestine activists. They can't do anything. They can't show up for Palestine events because they can't remember what day it is half the time. They can't show up for climate events. They can't like go through hundreds of pages of climate activism because of the damage from reinfections from the horrific ongoing COVID pandemic, right? So human minds are really limited, especially when you add to that all the other problems people have to deal with, right? People having to work multiple jobs just to pay for the overpriced rents, right? So people's spoons, people's mental energy, people's mental space, right? And then you have to deal with the constant psychic damage from being bombarded with the reality when we have to, because that's the reality and it has to be dealt with, that your country is committing massive, horrific genocide of tens of thousands of children and starving people to death, starving little children to death, right? So that's taking up mind space in everyone's minds, along with everything else, if there is any mind space left, right? And then you add to that people are having their minds filled with, like the thing is, this guy couldn't tell that it was a waste until after it was too late, right? So then you fill people's minds, and this is just entertainment. I mean, entertainment is art and theater. These are important to the world. They're not just entertainment. Because it's a lot of what makes life worth living is the joy and the pleasure of like seeing great art, having your soul touched, having your emotions, being able to feel and work through emotions, happy, sad, loss, and all these kinds of things, relating to others. I mean, these are not nothing, right? But I mean, but there's more critical things, like if the electricity comes on, if the street lights work, right? If your medicine is on the shelves in pharmacies, if your food is on the shelves in grocery stores, I mean, that stuff is also going to be impacted by this, right? But he said, like, I wasted hours of my life memorizing 15 pages of AI generated nonsense that has pushed out something useful, right? So that's and I might not even get paid for it. And this is that's a very extreme. No, that was a person who does work in a job, even if you're editing for Clark's World or programming for a corporation, software company or whatever you're doing, right? You're probably gonna get paid, depending on how with the hellscape quotient, capitalist hellscape that you're living in, but it's still like, you see how that's like, it's like this person is like wasting their mental energy. They wasted their artistic talent. They wasted their like joy of theater. Like the joy of theater is slightly dampened having gone through this experience, right? The willingness to put energy into things, especially reading new scripts and doing new events, it might be dampened because the next time I go to do the next time I take an acting job, how do I know that that's not going to be another AI generated nonsense script, right? When we know that Hollywood, we know that corporations, entertainment companies are just trying to push and shove as much AI like everyone else into everything as possible. How do I know that what I'm working on? I mean, you could already read a bad human written script. I mean, you could read like a Zack Snyder script and be like, why are all of these Amazons wearing frickin' stripper, bikini chainmail costumes? What is this nonsense, right? But that's just Zack Snyder being a incompetent, sexist, kind of dweeby little creep and not a good writer, right? And that'll just be like, that's just like bad human writing. But then you could be like, wait, but this is not only bad, this is not just like human that's not very good at writing bad. This is like complete nonsense, but it's hard to tell, right? So you see how this, you have this whole other problem there. Anyways, okay, let me keep going though. So It turns out there was no deeper meaning. There was no special effects. It was just gibberish. I've looked in the website and I don't think it actually says anything about Willy Wonka. It was Willie McDuff. I should have said that from the beginning. I was not Willy Wonka. Okay, so you've got the script for Willie McDuff. Tell me more about how it was pitched versus what you actually showed up to. So I thought it was going to be magic, and what I did walk into was an empty, cold, dirty warehouse in Glasgow. So coming back to that, let me get that dirty work. So this was the old dirty warehouse that he walked into. What about you? What was your favorite part of the monologue? Okay, my favorite parts. The part that I really liked, because it is actual nonsensical gibberish, was, there is a man. We do not know his name. We know him only as the Unknown. The Unknown is an evil chocolate maker who lives in the walls. Now, if that's not Shakespeare, I don't know what. Let me see if I can find a picture of the Unknown. That's not the Unknown. That's the Oompa Loompa. Okay, wait, where's the Unknown? Okay, here's the Unknown. You can hear the kids being excited, happy. Then Unknown comes out and the mood just drops. Watch this. The Unknown. Why does he look like Buckethead with stripes on his face? I guess because Buckethead is a rock musician, a virtuoso who also has like a slasher mask, I guess. Anyway. Yes. So that's the. If you want to know what the Unknown looks like, that's it. That's it. Okay. Okay. So anyways, where did I lost my place again? Okay. So the Unknown comes out, and he's an evil chocolate maker who lives in the walls. Okay. So let me say, the Unknown is an evil chocolate maker who lives in the walls. We do not know his name. Now, if that's not Shakespeare, I don't know what is, because what does that mean? Does it mean he's evil and he makes chocolate? Is he a normal guy who makes evil chocolate? Why does he live in the walls? Has he been kicked out of his house? I mean, that would be normal, in the West. And you lost your house because you don't have, the multi-thousands of dollars that you don't make to pay for housing, and the cops beat you up and threw you out. I mean, that's normal. So, I mean, that's actually pretty reasonable writing for a ridiculous, word predictor like ChatGPT. Anyway, excellent questions. Also, at the end, I was supposed to soak up the Unknown with a giant vacuum cleaner, very Luigi's Mansion style. There wasn't a giant vacuum cleaner. I was told by the people running it to improvise, and I didn't know how to improvise a vacuum cleaner without a vacuum cleaner. It takes skill that I do not have. This guy's just funny too. What instructions were you given by the people who hired you? Instruction, that's a strong word. I kept saying to them, this script does not make sense. What do you want me to do with it? They just kept saying, do what you want. And I was like, yeah, but what I want is to not do this script. So what do you want me to do? And then they kept saying, oh, just do what you want. Just make it up. Do the scripts if you want. What? I read this. I was like, are you for real? Do you have any idea? Do you have any sense of how many people were actually organizing this event? Not enough is what I would say. I think there were only a handful of people actually organizing it. It was mainly Billy who was in charge of everything. He clearly was just out of his depth. It was mad. Seeing the warehouse in the morning, it was like, what in the world do you think kids are going to come through here and not feel like there's something sinister going on? This is not a magical chocolate world. This is something out of a horror film. It is. This is something out of. This is like Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad with like 1/100th of the budget. Meets like the worst Tim Burton movie. Maybe that's Alice in Wonderland. What in this the meth lab Oompa Loompa? What what is happening? It's like so. Anyways, yeah. How would you come into that and not feel like there's something sinister going on? This is a horror film. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going to make a horror film about the AI generated monstrosity / capitalist scam called the Willie Duffy Experience. Okay, it's gonna have the sad Oompa Loompa cooking crystal meth to sell to the children with the half an ounce of possibly piss, but maybe it's lemonade, and one jelly bean. You get at the end it was one jelly bean. You get one jelly bean and an ounce of lemonade given to you by the Beth Cooking Oompa Loompa. So I'm not even joking. It's very sad. Very sad. It's not. I feel bad for this person if they really were in that terrible of a state. So somebody said the sad Oompa Loompa. Somebody said the sad Oompa Loompa's face is like it is the sad Oompa Loompa's face completely represents 2024. Like that is 2024 right there. That's a sad Oompa Loompa. Like, oh god, what am I doing? Do I have lazy eye because my log COVID, facial immobilization, Bell's palsy is kicking in again, or is it because things are actually this bad? I don't know. Oh god, rent's due, and I'm being paid like possibly $0 for this stupid gig. Oh god. People actually just another quick aside. People actually did there is fan art of the Oompa Loompa. Like, look, there is like fan art of, and also the unknown. There's like Oompa Loompa and unknown fan art at this point. Like, it is, you are a kid at the Willy Wonka experience going to talk to the Oompa Loompa lady. Wait, where's the a second Oompa Loompa spotted at Glasgow? Well, at least at least the AI generated monstrosity horror movie Oompa Loompa green hair girl, at least you got a friend, at least that makes it better. At least when you have some comrades who aren't telling you to take your mask off and denying your disability, which is hard to come by nowadays on leftist Twitter. At least when you have some friends that aren't anti-maskers, it makes surviving the nightmare meth lab wannabe Elon grifter experience a little bit more survivable. You know what I'm saying? Makes it a little bit better. It's like there's so much fan art now. There's this one. There's like this anime one. Where's the anime one? That's it right there. That's it. Being an Oompa Loompa while also being an opossum. That's 2024. Is being an opossum going extinct, right? As the Canadian spring begins in February. Like, oh my god, where's all of my normal seasons gone? And then you're like also having to cook meth flavored jelly beans for children, and you're like, oh god, this is the worst ever. That is not real. That is somebody stuck that. Anyways, so I just thought this is okay. I'll stop just like having I'll stop just going all over the place. Okay. Okay. How is it supposed to go? This is a horror movie. It just how is it? It just very much seemed like a guided tour. I would come out. So this is Willy Wonka again. He would say, I would come out. I would introduce myself, and then I would say all those lines about the squirrels being good conversationalists. Have you brought your spare socks? Okay, I don't know what. Yeah. So this is what the AI generated script wrote. I would do all that, and then I would bring them through to the Garden of Enchantment, or enshrinement, as ChatGPT said, or as I would describe it, some plastic mushrooms in a warehouse. I had a whole speech in which there was supposed to be a lot of tech. There was supposed to be something called giggle grass. If you step on it, it makes you laugh hysterically. I don't know how they ever thought they were going to pull that off, because how can you make someone laugh hysterically against their will? And I don't think you should. So the ChatGPT generated nonsense. Like, how can you have giggle grass where when you step on it, you step on grass, and then you force people to laugh hysterically, right? That's where this is like. At some point, you have to go through that and be like, wait, this is right. But but again, the actor who was supposed to be paid, he might not get paid, right? Was supposed to be following the script, but he's reading that, he's going like, well, how the hell does that work, right? But because he was saying, okay, maybe there's this really elaborate plan and something really funny is gonna happen that's gonna make people laugh, right? So you see how he was giving the AI generated script extra benefits of the doubt, and also giving the rich, wanna be rich scamster horrible tech bro the benefit of the doubt, because he wanted to believe in the Willy Wonka. It was, you see, it's really the Willy Wonka. You can see that it's the Willy Wonka nostalgia factor thing that was good in the past that you love, is by using that to sell AI generated nonsense, worthless stuff that is now not, that it has the veneer of what the thing that it used to be, right? Something Willy Wonka experience, like a Disneyland experience, right? But like for Willy Wonka. And then some tech bro with a computer keyboard connected to ChatGPT and art generators, right, can weaponize that against actors, against the stage crafters, against the the food. People have to cater for the food. The people that renting the building out, all these other people are being taken advantage of, right? With a completely fictitious experience, right? That used to be quality, but now it is hollowed out. And AI, and now you could always rip people off having a really bad children's haunted house event or children's Easter event, right? You could always charge a bunch of money for it. You could always rip people off and scam people out of their money and artists and actors out of their time. Being a bad event producer before generative AI, but the generative AI accelerates and increases it gives one person the ability to create this massive elaborate plan that sounds good. It has the veneer and the first glance appearance of a worthwhile project, a worthwhile $50 worth of entertainment, right? Like the website, right? The AI generated website makes it look like it's a legit real thing, but then it turns out to not be a real thing. Absolutely not worth the money, and not worth the people's time and energy and the psychic damage to everyone, including Mrs. Walter S. White, Oompa Loompa, right? It enables, like, again, magnitudes faster and more scamming and grifting opportunities and stealing and labor value and children's time and energy and parental spoons value theft, right? You can really screw more people over at a faster rate. One person can do all of that, right? Because normally you'd have to like figure out how to put together a lot of this. You'd have to like actually write that whole script. Somebody have to write that. No human writer is gonna write laughing grass where kids step on it and then everyone starts laughing, right? No human writer is gonna write Karchi Tons or Katgakating, right? Right? And no artist is gonna make a stolen ripoff of Willy Wonka using, copyright infringing deviant artists, like, some actual hungry artist that could be paid money to do actual art is not doing that art so that some skeezy dickhead can make a bunch of money ripping everyone off, making the world a sadder place with less smiles, with less chocolate, with 99% less jelly beans, with 70% with dehydrated children, with only a quarter cup of sad warm lemonade, right? Generative AI fills the world with sadness, depression, anxiety, and wasted neurons and synaptic activity. That's what generative is. So it's really the worst thing, other than COVID and the West in general. It's the worst thing I've ever heard of. Anyway, so okay, let's keep going though. So I don't think it's already, I gotta go very soon, so we'll finish this up. I don't think you should. There was the Gilgrass. Don't use the Gilgrass. There was supposed to be gilgo grass. There's no grass. There was supposed to be something called a bubble bloom, in which bubbles were supposed to come out of a giant flower. I was to catch a bubble in my hands, say something about how every bubble holds a dream or a wish. And in fact, they had no bubble machine, so that was undoable. Then came the most beautiful letdown of the whole event. So the Twilight Tunnel was supposed to be this almost Disney World-esque experience where you walk through a dark tunnel with stars. They're supposed to be dotted about. I was supposed to grab a star, hold it, and have it shoot off of my hands. It was supposed to be a magical thing. This is where the unknown is revealed. So we have tension as well. So I arrived on the day, and I was like, what is going on with this tunnel? And what they've done instead of this incredible magical starlit tunnel is basically stapled up some checkered flags into a corridor and put some dirty mirrors that I think they must have found in like the toilet or something along the corridor. And this was meant to be Twilight Tunnel. Yes, I saw the illustrations on the website. So there is a Twilight Tunnel on the website, right? Imagination Lab, Twilight Tunnel, right? Get ready for an exhilarating, immersive adventure. Journey through a dimly lit passage adorned with captivating projections, enigmatic sounds, and surprising turns that will immerse you in suspense and excitement. It's a heart-pounding experience you've never experienced before, right? Twilight Tunnel, right? Is what look. I mean, it looks really great. Also, what is lighting, dim, tight, diffractions, vivuia sounds, ungerevel, and pretty. Well, and pretty, that's like a pretty empress. So that's like, you know, like Daenerys Targaryen. It's like and pretty is like the childlike empress. Is that empathy? Like the empathy quotient is you know, in the beige spectrum, from the beige to red. What is this? This looks like the sliders in a video game. That's what my Holly was saying. This looks like the sliders in like, you know, like skin tone selection for Grand Theft Auto or Cyberpunk 2077. Like what the hell is that? What is a dodjection? Is that like when the U.S. central bank prints $1 trillion and injects into the Department of Defense, you know, like 800 billion? Is that what a dodjection is? Dodjection. Twerding. Is that like when you're walking towards something and then you walk faster? Twitterding. What is enigmatic sounds? What's enigmatic sounds? Okay. I don't have enough. I'm wasting my brain cycles coming up with plausible expert. You see, generative AI is making me waste my human, useful science fiction writing, sometimes comedy producing brain cells to come up with explanations for all this nonsense. X. What the fuck is that? Accepted twits. What's accepted twits? Is that like UK twits? Like the guy who made this horrible, ridiculous event? Is that what a accepted twits? What's swide? It's like so wide. Anyway. So that's Twilight Tunnel for you. Anyways, okay, let's finish up though, because we're like late. Okay, so it was meant to be Twilight Tunnel. Yes, I saw illustration on the website. You've probably seen the videos online. That's where the infamous unknown character appears from behind a mirror, starts unnecessarily scaring kids. There's no need to scare kids that much. They were scared enough. Then we went through something called the Imagination Lab, which I think was the point was you're supposed to imagine it was something better. The best part about the Willy Wonka experience is reading the knockoff Not Willy Wonka actors commentary about what it was like. That's the best part of the Willy Wonka experience. I want to call it the Paul Cano nightmare experience, which is far more entertaining and far cheaper than any Willie McDuff nonsense AI generated crap has ever been. Okay, so what it says, you've probably seen the okay, where does the lemonade come in? The next room was lemonade room, which sounds amazing. It was just some cheap lemonade in the bottle still that was poured. You got a quarter of a cup of lemonade if you were lucky. So again, some kids got like 2 drops of lemonade. Like, open your mouth, kids. And then somebody takes, you know, like a little dropper tube with like a little bit of yellow in it, and they just dip dip, like dropping acid onto the mouth of Sam Altman and Elon Musk before they come up with the ridiculousness of this ChatGPT. Just drop a little lemonade in your little mouth, little child. That's how much lemonade you got. Like some kids got no lemonade. They got no lemonade. A quarter. They were rationing lemonade out. There was something so hilarious. You're already having to ration food because Britain is a collapsing hellscape that doesn't have any food to feed anyone, and it's gonna be worse than World War II. And you're gonna have 3 ounces of flour and like half a cup of sugar every year, and that's gonna be rough, right? So I guess Willy Wonka's experience is preparing Britain for colonial imperialist collapse. So that's actually fairly that's really magnanimous of these grifters. Anyways, the next room, I'm joking. It's not going to be fun for you to suffer food system collapse. That was experience. Me leading everyone through, just talking gibberish, slowly losing my grip on reality. There's something so hilarious to me about a single jelly bean. Why did they have you guys only give out one? They didn't buy enough jelly beans. They didn't even buy enough lemonade. We had to switch to limeade because we ran out of lemonade. This is the thing that blows my mind. You know how many people are coming? 1 jelly bean per customer. That's tight. Wonka's a tight-fisted old man. It's more like Wonka's like Uncle Scrooge. It's like Uncle Scrooge times like Eldon Terrell. And then just throw in like an Elon for short. Can you explain to me what exactly is happening in the viral picture of the Oompa Loompa? Sorry, Wonky Doodle. What is she doing? What's her purpose at that little desk? I think she was asking herself the same question. This Wonky Doodle is this one in this picture here. The Wonky Doodle. I think it was meant to be a laboratory where the magical beans are made. She was actually doing science, creating the magical beans. Oh, great. Women in STEM. Yes, I know. It looks like a meth lab, but you don't know how magical beans are made. Where is the smoke coming from? What was that? Something was probably on fire. No, I do think they had a smoke machine. But there was one point where we did smell burning and we were worried that something was on fire. I kept saying throughout the day, someone's going to get hurt, and then there was a bouncy castle on a concrete floor. So there was our kid has been hurt by bouncy castle before. They're very dangerous inventions. And there was a bouncy castle on a concrete floor. How no kid just went bounce and smack was beyond me. What was the director doing during this event as all was happening? He was walking in circles was all I kind of saw him do. He was just running around. He should have been the unknown actually, because he was pretty good at just that. Just like appearing out of nowhere, whispering in my ear like, "You're spending too much time with the kids," and then disappearing into the night. The day changed halfway through. I was told not to spend too much time with kids. Try and get everyone through as quickly as possible. And that's when I felt really gross, because it's not like you just want their money. Now it's like you just want their money. You don't want these kids to have a good time. They told me to abandon the script. So now that you got it is just the unknown in a warehouse unnecessarily scaring the kids without the script. There is no explanation for this. It was just someone jumping out and scaring children for no reason. Why were the police called? Parents were getting angry. The kids were crying. I mean, you don't know heartbreak until you've seen a little small girl dressed as an Oompa Loompa crying and holding one jelly bean. That might be the saddest image I've ever seen in my life. That's what I see when I close my eyes at night. So when I went on a lunch break and sat in my car, I thought about how many bad decisions I've made. And then I went back to the event. There was a mob of people there, angry, shouting, wanted refunds, and they wanted Billy Cole's head on a stick, the creator of this event. People were shouting. People were chasing him around the venue with their phones going, "I've got you on camera." The other person who was running the event with him, she was crying. The actors just stood around kind of being like, "What do we do? We've been told the event was canceled." So I went over to the actors and said, should we just go to the pub?" Which is what we did. We went to the pub, and let's just let all this die down. At the end of the day, we didn't organize this. We did the best we could. We deserve a drink. And when we came back from the pub, we saw police were there. 2 police vans, 2 squad cars. I think the threat of violence had become quite high. How no one was hurt is unbelievable, really, because Cool is probably one of the most disliked people in Glasgow right now. I think the police had to come basically to stop someone from getting hurt. And my chocolate factory was no more. So anyway. So, I mean, literally, like, things got so bad that it was the potential of something violent happening was really, really going up there. And so, and that's all thanks to generative AI. So many parents lost $50 to a total grifter. actors and performers and designers wasted a lot of their life. A lot of them are not going to get paid, and this horrible douchebag might just get away with running away with their money because the Western capitalist world benefits corruption and crooked rich people and wannabe rich people, and benefits capital owner class over everyone else, and workers and children and parents. And kids got scared needlessly by this creepy slasher film Michael Myers with long hair in front of a dirty, asbestos covered Glasgowian, former steel factory mirrors. And the sad Oompa Loompa girl got to cook some meth, so that's nice. That was a silver lining. The silver lining is all the silver nitrate that was used in the process of cooking meth jelly beans, and that's really the moral of the story. That if the generative AI wrote this video script, that's what it would write. So the moral of the story, kids, is remember, always use 99.9% pure silver nitrate to cook your crystal methamphetamine. Thanks for coming to Willy Wonka's, right? Nonsense, right? Gibberish. And so anyway, so that like obviously a lot of this is in some of this is like, this is not the worst thing ever. I mean, there's much more serious impacts of generative AI than this. But this is, yes, one event, but this is not the only event. There are other events like this, and the usage, not everybody is going to use generative AI in that same way, to that level of dastardliness, but that is the trend is towards that, right? And away from actually empowering actual artists, actually empowering actual writers, right? And away from again, less and less caring about the experiences of people going through the entertainment, and more just about having more stuff, right? It's kind of like, if you look, you can see there is like a noticeable quality drop in a lot of there is an enshittification in the Cory Doctorowskian sense of like most streaming platforms, and then the enshittification of the quality of the content, and expensification, meaning getting more and more expensive to have the content at all, right? It's like it was $50 for this thing. I was like, what? Right? So and so all of that is just really no good. And one more side note before we leave, though. This is not AI generated, but this is actual human generated nonsense. Well, I mean, somewhat. I hope I was somewhat human. The humanity quotient of the CDC is very low. So the CDC has just weakened the COVID guidelines that are not going to result. That are going to the weakening of their COVID guidelines isn't going to result in more people isolating because the guidelines are easier to follow. The CDC is deceitfully pushing people to ignore COVID, because the CDC recently just said that there is no isolation guidelines for COVID. Basically, it's like, if you treat it like the flu or cold, maybe if you feel okay, then if you're feeling better, then feeling better, it's very ambiguous, and you don't have a fever, then you're fine, right? The COVID actual science says you're contagious for 10 days and longer if you have more severe COVID, right? So the CDC is tripling down. So this is more nonsense. CDC generated nonsense. Centers for Disease Control tripling down on returning to normal, aka letting mass disabling, killing COVID run rampant. And here's me tapping the lone masker sign again. So again, this is just a PSA. And here's a video that you can go watch. I did a whole stream that started with this video that you can see. The Lone Masker, a pandemic horror film. Lone Masker Part 2 is going to feature generative AI in it. I'm not going to use generative AI. It's going to be a dunking and a critique and satire of generative AI. That's the plan anyway. Human written script that is a takedown of generative AI. Not a AI generated thing. And they will never use such a thing. Anyways. And if you like this, if you appreciate the stream, consider supporting us through ko-fi.com/silverspook, where you can give a one-time donation. Really appreciate it, as we are in financial straits. Everyone's losing their video game jobs. There have been 0 layoffs though at Silverspook Games. So I just want to say that we as an anti-capitalist worker cooperative on the Native Hawaiian run anti-colonial cooperative project, we do not do layoffs. We have had no layoffs despite the 6,000 plus layoffs in the first 2 months of 2024 in the video game industry. However, we do need and appreciate as much support as possible. Here's just a little bit of what you will get as part of the Silverspook. When you become a Silverspook Patreon, you get access to a lot of behind the scenes on what we're working on. Like, for example, the fact that we haven't had COVID, that's an achievement. We have had zero COVID in the last 4 years. We have never had COVID as far as we know. And any colds, by the way. No colds and no flus and no stomach bugs and no scarlet fevers. And we have no AI generated anything, as well as the Silverspook Cooperative. And this is some pictures of the mini spooks taking a walk along our driveway, which we've recently cleared out, planting and more sweet potatoes, tea leaves, and other medicinal and food plants all along. That's part of our ecological restoration, a project, mission of the Silverspook Cooperative. And we have had water and vehicle related issues, and so that does require money. So if anybody does have any, they could kick into the Silverspook Cooperative. It would be massively appreciated, because we have a lot of bills that suddenly come due, and more of them coming due. And we are not making tons of money by any stretch. We are not even close to making as much money as this guy probably made in that 1 week, selling his overpriced scam tickets. Anyways, so I have updates on the Lone Masker and Neofeud. This is some Neofeud 2 related material that's just like some in-game footage that I'm currently still working on. I'm very close to being done with Neofeud 2. And so if you want to learn more about all of this, that's one of the benefits of becoming a Silverspook Patreon member. You also get access to the Silverspook Discord and all of our community there. And then you also get access to the Silverspook University. Silverspook University is Indigenous life education combining decolonized history, current struggles, imagined futures, cultural analysis from myself. I'm a Native Hawaiian activist, educator, and writer, and tells you what you need to know today, what your children need to know today, when so many lies about the past, present, and future permeate formal schooling, modern books and media, and visions for the future are shrouded in a fog of war and collapse. Hundreds of hours of educational, entertaining videos, holistically combining economics, history, politics, hard and soft sciences, art, popular cultural analysis, current event analysis, like what's happening with generative AI, what's happening pandemic and health related topics, and global geopolitical topics, as related to the history in general, and to other events and things in the world, and also in pop culture as well, and in all culture. Anyways, so Silverspook University is much of it is text, and then not much is video, and then there's also threads and text, things that I have written and produced, and you get all of this when you become a Silverspook Patreon. Also, you become a meth cooking Oompa Loompa. No, I'm just kidding. You can also follow at Silverspook. You can get Neofeud, which is an anti-capitalist, anti-racist, anti-imperialist cyberpunk adventure game that I spent about 2.5 years making the art, music, writing, and programming of. And it is a game that's also here on Steam, and if it is a satirical 90s point-and-click adventure game stand up, while also it's trying to say something in the present and also being more accessible to modern gamers. Somebody just left a review, so I'll read it. Neofeud is such a fantastically written cyberpunk story. The dystopia aspects are heavily showcased and allow for an emotionally gripping tale. Great music, fun characters like Proto J, and plenty of 90s and 80s jokes and references. The politics in the game reflect the real world so well, I went on several rants, tangents on my streams. Solidly done. Also, thanks to Animation Voice for playing Neofeud on the stream. And if you do stream Neofeud, don't forget to hit me up somewhere in the social media, and I will be sure to share your stream around, which I did for this person, to all of the tens of thousands or 60,000 or so followers that I have if you combine my Twitter accounts. I have accounts all over the place, but I have the most on Twitter. Anyways, so don't forget to, if you can leave even a very short review, it does help to get the game more visible in the algorithms that don't want to share games that don't have a lot of interaction and reviews, etc. So also you can find Neofeud on itch.io for Windows and for Mac and for Linux. And the maximum revenue does come to us when you get it on itch, and the game is also on sale on itch. And there's other games like Decolonators, Indigenous Star. There's many games and also books that I have on here. And Holly also has a book that's called Woman, which is about Holly, who was raised in a right-wing evangelical Protestant Christian culture, and it's a critique of that culture in the story of the Bible through Mary's eyes. And it is a book that is also for free. You can donate some when you pick it up on itch.io. You can also follow at Silverspoon Games at octagon.social, at Silverspoon Games at mastodon.social on Mastodon. And then, of course, you can also follow on Twitter at Silverspoon Guy, at Silverspoon Games minus the E in silver. And, of course, there is Instagram and there's Facebook and all kind of other places that you can follow us on. Somebody asked about Blue Sky. I don't really have that yet, but I have so many sites that I'm on. It's hard to manage the ones I already am on. But anyways, at Terminus C is also a cyberpunk RPG game that I am the content director and lead writer of, and you can follow them at Terminus C. And there's Holly, who you can follow at the Tech Fairy. Holly is a partner with myself since 2009, in both in marriage and also in making of Silverspoon Cooperative and managing and maintaining Silverspoon Cooperative. A producer and more with the Kate Nix music and Twitch stream variety show. Parent and caregiver to 2 native Hawaiian children. With myself, writer, educator, sapphic queer person, MEC of mask wearer. And so don't forget, you can also follow Holly there. Thank you so much to all of the people on this list here for your ongoing support. Really, without it, we really struggle to keep on doing this work, especially in this time with our increased bills. So consider please to joining, if you haven't yet, consider joining these very fine people doing important mutual aid for an indigenous comrade. And also you can that's it. There's nothing else you can do. That's it. Anyways, thanks a lot to everyone. Thanks to Holly for moderating, and don't forget, Generative, we just if you ever see, an advertisement, it really sucks because it makes it harder for everyone to figure out what is worthwhile and what is not, and what is stolen and malicious and what is not, and it's not good, and so we have to be careful and advocate against it. Poison all the AI generation algorithms and systems that you can, if possible, to defend your own art, if nothing else, and defend your own creations, if nothing else. And because this is really not whatever the same people who sold you cigarettes, NFTs, Bitcoin, and other Ponzi scheme, pump and dump pyramid schemes. This is one of the worst, if not the worst, possibly. And I think we have to really keep an eye on that. And yeah, so until next time, keep your marriage policy, be excellent to each other, and have a cat-gagating day. You know what I'm saying?